In the desolate juvenile detention center, encircled by a turbulent sea, the air is so charged with tension it feels almost palpable. Rumors weave through the corridors as the inmates buzz about the latest commotion. Amid the chuckles, the tough guys mention that some unknown kid from the north dared to challenge the boss's right-hand man. With a malicious grin, one of the thugs bets it would be a miracle if the newcomer escapes with just a few broken ribs. In a place where life is cheap, the command echoes through the night: take the victim down, show no mercy. Eager for the violence, the prisoners clamor for a thrilling spectacle in the makeshift arena. But the gang leader lets out a perplexed sigh, sensing something is terribly wrong. Covered in blood, our MC is held by the head, muttering that this is just the beginning. Suddenly, a blood-soaked fist slices through the air with incredible force. Pinning the big guy's face to the ground, the kid ignores the crowd's pleas for him to stop. Brutal punches continue to rain down mercilessly, shattering his opponent's face. Spitting blood is all the defeated man can do under the relentless assault. Without pause, his rival strikes again, showing everyone who's truly in control. At that moment, the guards and other inmates have to rush the court to try and halt the massacre. After leaving a trail of fallen bodies in the yard, silence finally descends on this hellhole. In shock, the prisoners can't believe the newcomer actually won the fight. Seeing the brutal state of the fallen fighter, the entire audience feels a chill run down their spines. Trembling with fear, the guys whisper that the victor doesn't even seem human. With another devastating blow, the kid proves he's not here to play games. Blood splatters everywhere as his reputation becomes legendary, like something that crawled straight out of the underworld. Staring everyone down with pure hatred, he earns the nickname Mad Dog. Alone in the middle of the court, our boy takes a deep breath after the bloody victory. As he reflects on his new title, Steamin' from Hell, he just stares at the floor. But in his mind, he knows everyone got the situation completely wrong. Away from the spotlight, the prisoner remembers the truly dark place he came from. A heavy gate slides open, revealing that his past was far worse than any prison. Indeed, a purely miserable life is locked away with the metallic slam of the doors. In another scene, a young nerd hurries through the hallways. In a cold sweat of desperation, the four-eyed layman laments his luck, saying everything was fine until he encountered a certain aggressor. Hiding in a small, dark room, he prays with all his might that the maniac doesn't find him. Suddenly, a makeover smile flashes in the darkness, announcing the nightmare has begun. Quivering with dread, the victim hears the bully's vile voice melodically taunting him. Down the hallway, the psychopath ambles leisurely, pondering aloud if his target is well concealed. A narrow beam of light falls on the storage room door, where the captive holds his breath. Silently imploring the tormentor to leave, the terrified child is nearly in tears from the strain. Sweat trickles down his forehead, revealing the intense fear of the moment. Abruptly, the door swings open, and the large figure jubilantly announces he's located his prey. In complete disbelief, the nerd realizes his only option now is to escape as far as possible. Trapped by the bully's malicious grin, the child hears that there are many terrifying things in the world. Through his tears, he admits that some experiences are more terrifying than hell itself. Without warning, the brute delivers a harsh knee to his stomach. In a mocking tone, the coward suggests the young man close his eyes to avoid feeling the pain. With a gesture of his fingers, the villain promises to end it all with a single blow this time. Grabbing the victim by his hair, the monster lifts him, setting the stage for the final torment. It's evident that true horror is a person who derives immense satisfaction from others suffering while degrading their victims. Complaining that the nerd broke too easily, the psychopath claims he got a faulty product and threatens to burn down the entire shop. The bloodstains on the polished floor make it clear there's no escape, no salvation for the vulnerable. On the streets, people hold angry protests against the violent crimes committed by minors nationwide. In the courtroom, the judge issues lenient sentences, further infuriating the public demanding harsh justice. To pacify the situation, the government amends the laws, increasing the maximum penalty but only sending the offenders to detention centers. Unfortunately, these superficial actions only cause juvenile crime to spiral out of control. Turning the lives of the innocent into an endless nightmare, gangs treat bullying as mere entertainment. Near the edge of a building, a girl sadly contemplates that no one can challenge the strongest. Unable to find a way to survive, despair takes its tragic toll on the pavement below. Back at the school gates, an atmosphere of oppression dominates the students' afternoon. Cornered by three thugs, a smaller boy cowers in fear against a grimy alley wall. After a sharp slap to the face, The boy hears the leader instruct him to call his big brother for help. Full of derision, the group remarks that the victim's relative is imprisoned for murder and pretends to be terrified. The delinquent warns that he's going to demand a hefty fee as a tax. In a desperate plea, the boy implores them not to malign his brother, who is incarcerated. In response, a vicious punch lands on his face, sending blood splattering. As he lies on the ground, the gang kicks him, shouting that he needs a serious lesson. Unaware of the chaos, a bespectacled nerd walks down the street, burdened by yet another dreadful day. He breathes a sigh of relief, grateful for surviving another torturous day at school. Just ahead, a battered stray dog in a box catches his eye. He crouches to pet the dog, offering a faint smile and remarking that they are both cut from the same cloth. Suddenly, the violent sounds of a beating break the silence, causing him to freeze. Peering cautiously over the wall, he sees someone being severely beaten and briefly considers stepping in. The boy, being mercilessly stomped on, reaches out, pleading for any help. In a cold sweat of fear, the nerd realizes the attackers are from the rival school. Spotting the unwanted witness, the delinquents flash a sinister smile, greeting the upperclassmen. With an arm around the nerd's neck, the leader mockingly asks how things are going. Trembling, the captive can't utter a word as he looks at the injured boy on the ground. In a gesture of submission, he hands over his wallet as the thug demands money for a snack. Disgusted by the wallet's contents, the thug sneers that even a dog would have more cash. Tightening his grip, the bully insists that his breakfast be ready the next day. Paralyzed, the nerd watches the gang leave, swallowing his pride. Lying on the dirty asphalt, the boy groans in pain. In a moment of bravery, he quietly begs them to release the injured boy. Crushing the small boy with his foot, the aggressor justifies his actions by saying the boy's brother took a life, so the blame is shared. With a violent yank on his collar, the leader warns the nerd not to get arrogant just because he's an upperclassman. With a psychopathic grin, the delinquent dares the nerd to repeat that in front of the school's top bully. In a state of panic, the nerd recalls that this so-called top bully is the demon who has made his life miserable. Trapped in the enemy's grip, he remembers how the wealthy sadist chose him as his main target for amusement. Surrounded by laughing students, the public humiliation shatters any remaining sanity he has. In his dark memories, the villain tortures another person mercilessly, making it clear that the only end there is a final one. Yelling, the thug commands the trash to vanish and warns of an even more dreadful scene the next day. Overcome with guilt, the young man averts his gaze, silently apologizing for his inability to aid the victim. Abruptly, the child's head is slammed into the ground, underscoring the protagonist's complete helplessness. As the gang departs to the sound of footsteps, they instruct the boy to curse his own fate. Bent over in pain, the nerd trudges on, mentally chastising himself for his pathetic state. With tears streaming down, he repeats his apology to the empty street. On the dimly lit stairs, loneliness engulfs the child, reminding him of his isolation. After a few minutes, he finally reaches home. Inside the grimy apartment, the atmosphere is already tense with the slovenly figure sprawled in the living room. Holding a bottle, the pot-bellied man harshly demands his stepson hand over the day's earnings. Attempting to intervene, the mother insists the money is for monthly expenses and her son. With a furious slam on the table, the stepfather orders the woman to be quiet immediately. At that moment, the boy enters the room. Confronted with the threat of forcing his mother to sell her body, the young man quietly asks the man to stop. In an instant, a sharp slap lands on his face. With his hand on his stinging cheek, he cries internally, blaming his own weakness for the situation. Yelling, the monster demands respect, calling the woman a filthy, useless creature. In complete shock, the boy absorbs each insult like a stab to the heart. Dark memories flood his mind of bullies telling him to clean dog mess off their shoes. Submissive to the core, the past reveals the extreme humiliation of licking the upperclassman's boot and still having to express gratitude. With his eyes bloodshot with rage, he finally reaches his breaking point in defense of his mother. As the aggressor raises the bottle to attack the woman, he doesn't even notice the fury approaching. Out of the corner of his eye, the brute sees the kid's desperate move. In a blind rush, RMC tries to attack but gets a bottle to the head. Consumed by rage, the man threatens to crush them both right there on the floor. With a knife appearing from nowhere, RMC decides he's had enough of silently enduring. Firmly holding the blade, he braces for the worst-case scenario. Without backing down, the old man clenches his fist, ready to retaliate against the audacity. With the weapon aimed at the target, the boy demands the violence end immediately. Desperate, the mother grabs her son's arm, pleading for calm and insisting everything is okay. Ignoring everything, the student's determination to safeguard his sole family member is etched into his mind. The pot-bellied monster, treating it all as a joke, bursts into laughter, finding the situation amusing as he unbuckles his belt. With a mocking tone, the stepfather taunts the boy, reminding him of how he's treated like a stray dog both outside and at home. Acting as a barrier, the woman intervenes, pleading with the man to cease his actions. Completely unhinged, the old man dares the helpless kid to test his luck with the knife. As he winds up his arm, a massive punch is poised to deliver a harsh lesson. With no escape, the boy shuts his eyes, bracing for the inevitable impact. Driven by sheer survival instinct, the knife thrusts forward, slicing through the air with all its might. Blood splatters immediately, painting the scene a horrifying vivid red. Dropping the metal to the ground, our protagonist steps back in utter shock. His eyes wide with terror, he struggles to comprehend the gravity of his actions. The harsh reality hits when he realizes his own mother leaped in front and took the blow. Injured in the shoulder, the aggressor howls in pain, astonished that the boy had the courage to strike. Tearfully, the student stammers, desperately explaining he only wanted to protect his mother. But the woman intervenes again. Clinging to the monster's leg, the bleeding mother pleads for mercy, insisting her son didn't mean it. With a cold, psychotic expression, the old man demands the woman release his pants. In a cowardly and disgusting move, the heavy fist slams the victim's head onto the floor. From a front row seat, the boy witnesses the scene, screaming his mother's name in utter despair. For the massacre to finally end. For a moment, the aggressor pauses and looks with sheer disgust at the sobbing figure at his feet. Shifting his focus to a new target, the monster declares he's going to address the lack of discipline immediately. Terrified, the bespectacled boy still mutters empty promises of protecting his family. Lying on the floor, the wounded mother urges her son not to worry and to flee. With her last ounce of strength, she screams at the top of her lungs, commanding the boy to escape at once. Turning his back on the danger, the kid dashes out the door, driven by pure survival instinct. Tears stream down his sweaty face, filled with remorse and apologies. Shouting heavy insults through the open door, the stepfather vows a cruel revenge. The kid, just barely escaping by the skin of his teeth, runs as far as he can. He walks in the rain as a dog comes around him. He wakes in the morning as he sees his dog protecting him from his bully. Wanting to protect himself, he attacks the bully as he bites his nose off. With these mistakes made, what do you think is the end game for the boy now? To watch the next part, like and subscribe to not miss out.